What is up, everyone? It's been, I think, 3 weeks since my last video, purely because I've been very busy with business and family and so many things. But today we've seen some very interesting price action, and I think it's worth making a quick video to update you on how I see things in the market at the moment, and I'm gonna jump straight into it. So this is the Bitcoin chart on the daily, which we have this local range here. Here. And now we're deviating this range. So there are a few options now opening up, a few possibilities. The price can go either higher or it can go lower. It's quite important how we're gonna close today. As it is now, I think it's a nice candle. It is the possibility to close inside the range, so we will have a swing failure of the range low, or it is also possible to fill the body again and have a very strong bearish candle, in which case this would probably signify further downside. So the possibilities now are three, as I see it. One is that at this current moment we already start creating an accumulation model. Maybe this is one, this is two. We found another tap and we go higher from here. That's possible. There is a possibility that we create the accumulation a little bit lower, tapping in this demand zone somewhere here in the 96, 97, 94. We found the low here and then we go higher, or we have a very aggressive move to the downside and we go much lower. I think if we lose this demand zone, I think then it will probably mean that we go all the way down to below 80s, or low 80s at least. So three possible scenarios, and there is no clear indication on what is likely to play out. So we need to wait and see. In my previous market updates, I always mentioned this idea. In my previous video, I mentioned that we were currently at D. Actually, now we're here. So this, it's possible to play out perfectly, the sketch. But that's, again, it's an idea. So we need to see how it's going to play out. This is just to remind you that this has always been the case. Because now feelings might be very, tense and high. But if you zoom out, then you see that this has always been the case. So what is playing out is the idea that we presented in this channel pretty much since the beginning. So now I want to see this in confluence of other charts. So mainly USDT dominance. So I think this is the critical thing now, which is gonna define what we're doing next. So USDT dominance is doing this very aggressive move to the upside, and it almost sliced through the supply zone here. However, it didn't slice yet. Even though this is a very aggressive move, I think still there's a possibility to reject, especially if this candle closes lower somewhere here with a very big wick. So then we will have an indication of a very possible topping formation here. USDT dominance is quite simple. It's either rejects here, it goes back to the range, and in this case it goes minimum at this 4.36 level, and then if it does that, then we will see if from this low of the range, if it will accumulate to go high again, or if it's gonna break down of the range to go lower. But at this present moment of time, it's either rejects, goes back into the range, back to the 4.3, which obviously will mean that Bitcoin and crypto goes up from here, or it slices through the supply and continues higher. And then how high, we will have to see. Because then, it's realistically, then we can very much likely target this high. Maybe we have supply zones here, but then this is not strong supply zones. So the strongest point becomes this one. So then it opens up the possibility of deviating that high. And then we will see what happens from there. And if it deviates that high, it means that it will go up to, almost 6.5%, which is gonna feel like end of cycle situation for crypto. I'm not saying it's going to be, but it will definitely feel like. So let's see. Because this is based on very heavy war news. It's happening on a weekend. I do see a decent chance of this reversing, and I can see a decent chance that this can start reversing already from today, in the last hour of before the closing of today's price action. I'm recording this now. I'm gonna upload the video as soon as I finish. So it's gonna, within 1 hour or so, I'm gonna have it published. So there's not gonna be so much delay from the moment that I'm recording and the moment that you will be able to see this video. Another chart, Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance, very powerful move, slice through the supply. When it comes to Bitcoin dominance, I see it as an indicator. I don't like to chart this chart to do technical analysis and find distribution or accumulation models, because it's not price, it's just dominance. So for me, it's more of a sentiment and an intention of the market participants rather than looking for accumulation and distribution models. However, if I see them forming, I will take them into account. So what happened here, I was hoping that, we will break down a little bit lower. I was hoping that we will do the move to this low here. It didn't happen. Bitcoin is very strong. And this is a little bit confusing at the moment, because now I don't see much resistance for Bitcoin dominance. I see clear skies up to 70%. But again, I don't see that. If it goes price, I would expect it to go to 70%. Now, because it's just dominance, I wouldn't be surprised if it rejects in any random point. In a way, this is a little bit contradicting with the idea that USDT dominance rejects here. But it opens up another possibility, because so the bullish scenario and the most positive scenario, it says that USDT dominance rejects from here. So Bitcoin starts going up from here, and rather soon maybe. So it finds the accumulation zone here and goes up. And this happens while Bitcoin dominance goes up. So it could be the situation then that Bitcoin takes charge, the whole market goes up, but Bitcoin goes more than the rest of the market. It finds a top, local or cycle top, we don't know yet. So it finds a top and then it starts correcting, maybe ranging a little bit, and then Bitcoin dominance drops, and then the more aggressive move to the alts are coming into play. The other things that I find a little bit contradicting is that let me go back to the daily, not in the weekly. So Bitcoin seems that it can go higher or it can go lower. It's a little bit in the middle at this moment. It can very much go up or it can take time here, accumulate. Ethereum feels a little bit weak for me. So there is an order block somewhere here. It can find support and accumulate from here, but this chart also looks heavy. So realistically, a move to 1800 or even to 1400, realistically you cannot exclude that possibility. At the same time, though, when you look in individual altcoins are reaching very juicy range lows. I was just before starting this recording, I was looking at Ondo, and I think it's a very good example. Look at that. So this is on the daily. So this is the daily range. Ondo deviates the range low at the moment, hitting demand below. So this, is a perfect area to look for a potential accumulation. So now here it can go a little bit up, accumulate and go up, or it can find the accumulation within this demand zone and go up. So a chart like this looks ready to accumulate for a reversal. It doesn't have to do that. It's always a possibility that the demand is not strong, it breaks down from the range aggressively, and then the range is not valid anymore, and then we explore higher prices. But this is a very nice picture. This is a very nice range. The way that it came down is very nice because it's not very aggressive, and when it's not very aggressive and you leave all these lows here, these are all liquidity. So it's liquidity up for grabbing. So it's a very nice, and since there is demand below, it looks perfect for an accumulation. I was also looking in Beam, which looks very similar to Ondo, and even more so because you have again, it's the daily, it's a chart that looks very similar, deviating the range low in demand zone, and this line here, if I go to the weekly, is effectively the all-time low. So this line comes from here. So it was this got the launch of the project. It pulled back here and then it shot to the stars. So in a way, for me, this is the all-time low. So it's range low on a high time frame chart as the daily. On demand, it could sweep the all-time low or not. Again, it can break down and explore new all-time lows and goes into price risk discovery on the downside. But this all looks very interesting for a reversal. So there are a few charts that look like that, or there are charts that are seen to heading that towards that way. So for example, I was looking at render. So render here is approaching the range low. It has demand here, so it makes perfect sense to deviate the range low into demand, accumulate, go up. So you see this picture in a lot altcoins at the moment. And in a way, this is the opportunity that I was looking for. And I have made a few posts in my private Telegram group, which you can find the link in the description below, which I had said that I'm looking for opportunities to form for accumulation models. Effectively, this is what I meant. So now altcoins seem to come in zones that look juicy for accumulations to be formed. However, Bitcoin seems to be in a little bit of a fine line, because obviously if Bitcoin starts correcting aggressively to much lower prices, I cannot see how altcoins are going to hold their edges and reverse to the upside, especially since Bitcoin dominance looks so strong at the moment. So I think this is the picture overall. It's a little bit of wait and see. If you see my charts, so for example on Ondo, I'm very interested in finding along here. So I'm gonna watch if it accumulates. I was a little bit impatient in Beam, so I'm already in the trade and planning to scale in if it goes lower, which obviously presents a risk. So it's something that it's not advisable, because again, if it loses this demand, it can just go to price exploration to the downside. The thing is that when you have aggressive moves, how you're going to enter? You're going to enter to see, this bouncing up, coming back down, maybe do another tap here or higher, and then you enter on the break of structure. But sometimes the break of structure happens very high. So for example, if you look at on the daily, at this present time, this is the high that you need to break. So if it's 1-2 taps, and if there is no third tap forming and it goes for an aggressive move up, then you enter here on the break of structure. What you want to see is this down, up, and in this break of structure here you're going to enter. And sometimes I take this risk here because I like to see my charts on the daily, and I'm not full-time crypto. I cannot be on my charts for so many hours a day, and I'm not very good in putting alerts and following up on them yet. So sometimes I enter in risky places. So because if you look on the daily, the break of structure can be quite high. Then the other thing that you do is that you start going in lower time frames, and then you start seeing if you see a break of structure in the lower time frame. In the 4 hours, it would be here. And then maybe if you go to 1 hour, you can find a break of structure even lower. And then you enter on the break of structure on a lower time frame. But if it's a lower time frame, you need to be careful because it can be a fake break of structure and then it can reverse lower. It's a little bit complicated. I'm also in the phase that I'm becoming better in my own trading. So I'm not an expert trader. I'm improving my trading skills every single day. So in a way, I'm taking with me in this journey when it comes to trading. But which is also the case that why I don't post so many trades on my channel. Sometimes I post things that I see interesting, but it's not like too many trades. And particularly since the past few weeks, price has been very volatile when it comes to the altcoins. I'm going to be a little bit careful. So if I see something nice forming, if for example in Ondo I see a nice accumulation and with a break of structure to signify an entry, I'm gonna post that in the channel. And this is pretty much it. If you like the content, guys, please like the video, subscribe if you haven't. That's what you should look for when it comes to leverage trading. So you need to have your range, be on the range low, find an accumulation. What you want for a range, the range is from the low to the high, or if it comes from the opposite direction, from the high to the low. It doesn't make much difference. I need to elaborate more on that. And there are a few things that you need to take into account to have a valid range. I'm gonna mention the most basic one, which is you need a return to the equilibrium, to the 50% line of the range. So when I have a move from the low to the high, my first sign for a valid range is the moment then it goes back to the 50%, because then it's just an uptrend. The moment that I see this back to the equilibrium, then I have the first signs of range formation. And then the other thing is that how price behaves during within this range. I think if I have to say a rule of thumb, the less aggressive the move, the better it is. So as I said before, when you come down gradually like that, and when you leave all these highs here, all these are liquidity points. It's like people entering shorts here with stop loss here, and there's a short here, stop loss here. So all these points are liquidity grabs for the market makers. So then increases the possibility of this being viewed as a range. The price goes up to grab all this liquidity. When you have very aggressive moves, this is not a nice looking range. When it comes to spot, and whether you should buy or not if you are considering buying, for me, one of the mistakes that I have done this cycle is that I'm pretty much fully deployed. So I either make slight changes, maybe I swap one crypto for another that I feel more confident, or I can sell a pumping crypto for some liquidity. For example, I sold just a little bit of my SPX, which is my biggest meme coin bag. And luckily enough, I timed it almost perfectly. So I took some profits here, which gave me some liquidity to put in some utility coins like Beam, Athena, Ondo, S, Sonic. I don't remember what else. So yes, I don't have much liquidity, and I'm trying to bring new liquidity, but it's not that I have so much additional cash available to put into the market. But whatever I had, I did a small buys today, and I bought a little bit of Beam, a little bit of S. I haven't drawn the range here. Where is S? Yeah, this is. I'm using the Phantom chart for sometimes to have more price action. and it looks very good high time frame. So this looks like a massive high time frame model. So I'm adding spot below this range, like in the deviation of the range low. Again, it can completely break down here, but it looks like a nice spot to buy some S. And I think Athena looks similar. Yeah, again, you see, Athena deviates the range low on high time frame model. Again, I think it's very interesting to find a long here if it starts accumulating. And I'm pitching Jupiter. It's approaching the range low, which is also all-time low. So range low, all-time low, an accumulation here can be generational entry if you find it. So I think all these are very interesting charts to look. You need to be patient. If you take the risk the way that I did with Beam, don't buy within the range. So for example, Jupiter, if you don't want to wait for an accumulation, if you don't know how to identify an accumulation, and if you want to take the risk below the range low, because more likely than not it will deviate the low. So you go low leverage and you scale in, so you deviate the range low. You enter, I don't know, maybe 20%. If you go lower, you add 20 more %. So then you have a lot of room and low leverage, so your liquidation price is not too close, and you will be able to survive a little bit of a more aggressive move to the downside. So for spot bugs, I think in general it's a nice place to buy some, but you need to be aware that yes, Bitcoin can break down, USDT dominance can shoot up, altcoins are gonna get massively wrecked. I don't know how much more wrecked they can get. What I like in general, and I feel comfortable DCAing, is the Bitcoin dominance. I have mentioned a lot of times in the past that I just don't believe that Bitcoin dominance will go up forever and it will stay up forever. This doesn't make sense for me from a chart perspective and from a fundamental perspective. It just doesn't make sense to me. So sooner or later, I expect Bitcoin dominance to drop massively, to fall off a cliff, and I expect to have a decent, to say the least, alt season. So the important thing is that because we don't know when this will happen, it can happen this week, it can happen in 3 months, it can happen in 1 year. We don't know when this will take place. It is important to focus your buys on projects that seem to be solid and be in good narratives. So I mentioned things like Sonic, which is a layer 1. I mentioned things like Say, which again it's a layer 1 focused in DeFi. It's a US coin. It's part of the World Liberty portfolio. Jupiter is one of the main indexes on Solana. Render is AI deepin with huge partnerships built on Solana. Ondo is the leading RWA coin. Beam and Super are, I think, the 2 best gaming coins. There's infrastructure coins, so you don't bet on individual games. So all these coins are expected to be around. And also it's kind of a nice diversification. I'm not mentioning 5 AI coins or 5 layer 1s. I'm mentioning 6-7 coins to cover the whole all the narratives. And I'm not suggesting you, if you want to go. I would assume that most of you want to take some additional risks. So I'm not suggesting you buy Bitcoin or buy Ethereum or buy Solana. But don't focus on low cap meme coins or sub 5 million AI plays. If you do that, don't focus on that. So you need to identify who you are, what are your strengths. If you are a good trader, you understand leverage and you do it successfully, you can do a little bit of leverage. If you are not, just don't do it. Just buy spot bugs and just be patient and wait, because wait for the time that Bitcoiners will start falling massively. So just be patient. And if you're not a good trader, I would suggest you to try to learn how to trade. Just because that's a way to make money in all situations. For me, one of my motivations to start becoming a better trader, it was the idea that I will be able to make money on the bear market, on the downside, not only on the upside. And I would like to be able to take some short trades once the Bitcoin top is in. So I think allocating some time on becoming a better trader is a wise thing to do. And when it comes to low cap plays, which I post a lot of them in my private channel. So the problem with those is that they depend a lot on attention. So as long as there is attention in the market, if they're good in coins and they good in the sense that they manage to catch attention, they will keep growing. However, if the market goes into a bigger correction, then you cannot be sure that these coins will still be around in 2 or 3 months if the market cools significantly down during summer and then it picks up after September. Then you don't know if all these low caps will be around. It's just the teams might lose interesting and they don't be around. A lot of things can happen. Anyway, now I'm starting making this video longer. I think you got the picture. Yeah, and I think I covered everything. I'm gonna try to make videos more often, and I'm gonna be more mindful of the length of those and do less than half hour, because now we're at 33 minutes. So stay focused, stay level-headed, and until next time, take care. Bye.